What's up, family? How you doing? It's your man Rio.
And your girl Micca.
You saw the name of it. Welcome to the Power Mate Love Podcast Live. We're so excited that you have joined us today. We're so excited, Micca, to be in the house to talk about another fantastic and really impactful topic on today. And we're glad y'all have joined us today. What's up, everyone?
The first thing I'm going to say, if you know somebody who you've been talking to them and they've been sharing with you what they've been going through in their singleness journey, they're killing it out here in these streets. They're killing it. But when they go home at night or when they finally shut that computer down because they work from home and it's them and just them in their house by themselves, laying in that bed by themselves, you need to share this broadcast with them. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot.
Listen, I see people coming up in the house right now. You are listening in and watching live. It's your man Rio, and it is Micca in the house. And this is a really impactful topic today that we're going to get into. And babe, what we're going to do today for the ones that are watching, we're going to get into the topic of the hidden epidemic called loneliness.
I don't know. Have y'all heard about that? Have you guys actually heard that loneliness has been declared an epidemic? I don't know. I mean, we knew it, but now it's you know it, especially knowing the period that we're coming out of and the global impact that, COVID-19 had on all of us.
Listen, we got a question as we get into this, y'all. We got a question that we want to ask you, and we want you to put this inside of the comments on this video if you're watching live or on the replay, because we want to know what you say about this. What do you say about this question, right? And this was a hot button question earlier, babe. We asked this on social media, and people jumped all over this, right? And here's the question. Do you believe there is a difference between being alone and being lonely?
If you are watching, drop it in the comments.
Do you believe there is a difference between being alone and being lonely? Please put that in the comments. What do you think? Is it the same thing? Is it different? What makes it different? Put that inside of the comments. We want to come back. We will respond to it. Is there a difference? Put that in the comments. We want to do that live and on the replay. Right.
And if you don't know, put that in the comments too. We want to know.
But you were bringing up, babe, you're talking about this epidemic and you're talking about all this big stuff. And we have some ways that we're really trying to make sure we help people who might be feeling alone. We got some ways we're trying to help people.
And what people? So I'm going to get in. So we have been, you guys know our story, right? Rio and Micca met in a Facebook group with over 40,000 people. There was a post, Rio commented on it. I was like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? And then we went back and forth, and then now we're here. That is the short version of how Power Mate got started, right? Literally in a Facebook group. But the thing about it is there were some things that I did, especially in that, back and forth in that Facebook group on that post, that literally got me out of my state of being single and frustrated with what was showing up in the dating scene to, fast forward now being married, going on 5 years married, almost 6 years in our relationship. So when we say people, we've built what we call our ministry. Power Mate is a ministry. And what we do is we bring together, right, driven, intentional, successful, high-achieving entrepreneurs and professionals who are out there, who they're single. They know they're single. They made a decision to focus on life, focus on career, focus on everything else. And they've sacrificed success in the area called love. And they don't want to do that anymore. And they're all over the place, right? They're in different spectrums, different parts of the world, all the things. So our ministry brings these people together in community so that they can network, they can connect, they can build, they can be brought together so that they can have the fulfilling relationship, the fulfilling, healthy relationship that they desire. So when we say people, Those are the people that we want you to think about. So if you class yourself as that person that I just described, then you definitely need to be in the PowerMate tribe. You definitely need to be tapping in, listening in. And when we say to share, if somebody comes to mind and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so, make sure you share this broadcast with them as well.
Babe, listen, in talking about all that, we have done recently this flirting masterclass. You might have heard about it on the streets, right? Did they hear about it on the streets? We did a flirting and body language class on the streets because we talk about community. We talk about needing one another, especially when you're single. A lot of times you deal with loneliness. I know I did in my personal life. Even people in relationships deal with it. But there are opportunities for us to have connection, and we really believe that how we present has a lot to do with building connections, right? So like communication, and in this case, flirting and body language, this masterclass was hot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to show, like Micca, you talked about it yesterday. We want to show you all this, like, is it a testimonial? Can we call it that? A testimonial? It's even bigger than that.
It was a review or some feedback that we got after the flirting masterclass. We're going to show you all the direct feedback that we received, like literally the day of after going through the class, her experience of that, and then also something else that happened and she sent us in a video of, which literally it stemmed out of what she implemented within days after coming to the class. So we're going to go ahead and share that with you all.
It has been great. I like spaces where you have the opportunity to become vulnerable without any real strings attached. It allows you to really take a humble approach, making sure that you're not locked in to all of the things you've learned in your previous communications. And then it gives you an opportunity to just grow.
Hello, everyone. My name is Latasha Matthews, and this is
Michael.
And we are here to thank Micca and Rio for helping us connect. I attended a master class with them that really taught me some techniques that I'll share in this video, but we really just wanted to thank them. So I took a master class that really taught you how to use your body language, do some flirting, and use all these techniques that I didn't know I really needed until I took the class. Playful banter is what I use. So Michael, I met on Facebook dating app. Tell them about your experience on Facebook dating.
So I think by the time that I met Latasha, I was kind of fed up with Facebook dating app. I only had been on there three days, and then you have so many profiles to look through, and you don't know what people are angling for, what they're looking at. And at the time that she came across my profile, I was in the shutdown mode. I was about to shut it down. So very truthful. When I'm out there on these dating sites, I was just letting everyone know, hey, I have had a couple of good conversations with people. I'm going to probably go and hang out with a few people, and then I'm shutting it down. And then she came in the last hour, and I mean last hour, I was probably getting ready to shut it down. Then I saw her message, and her message was oh, I guess I missed my opportunity. So that kind of started the conversation, and then here we are today.
Yeah. So the playful banter was one of the techniques I learned in Micca and Rio's masterclass, and really it was just an opportunity to lighten up the conversation. I realized that I had been a little rigid in previous situations, so that allowed the door to open for Michael to say, hey Leah, let's connect, and the rest is history. So we really just want to thank you two for what you do in bringing couples together and really just teaching some of those techniques that we didn't know. And now we're locked and loaded, and we about to do this thing.
Oh yeah, we're about to make it happen.
Yeah, so thank you all.
Thank you all.
Join their masterclass. They're amazing. If you want to find love, you want to find out how to communicate, they're the people to talk to.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Hey, I love seeing that. That
I try to be corporate, Mika, but it's hard to be corporate
I don't know why
sometimes.
you're being corporate, Rio.
It's hard to be
this
corporate.
Is fun.
You know what I'm saying?
This is like we
are
need
you
to
kidding
celebrate
me?
this.
Are you kidding me right now?
This is good. This is fun.
But wait, when was the class, and then when did she send this
So
video?
the last master class was April, I believe, 15th. And I got this video last week. So this is what I mean when I talk about intentional, y'all. You're not out here to play around.
Wow.
You're not out here to waste time. You know where you're at in life. You know what you desire. You know what the gap is. You know what gap needs to be filled. And you're like, I've been doing all of this on my own for so long and it hasn't been working. Let me be open. Let me just open my mind to see if what they're talking about, if there's strategies and tips and tools that I can use that can actually help. And that's what she did. And she came to the class. She implemented, while we were in the class, we have exercises or like role play, right? That we do. And we curate the class a particular way. So she was able to receive feedback during the class and even afterwards. And based on, the execution of what she was learning while she was in the class. And the feedback was fantastic, right? So I had no doubt in my mind that if implemented, that they would actually yield results. I didn't know that they would yield results that quick, but she did send me the message and said that, 6 days after the class, that was when the connection, the interaction happened. And she utilized she utilized the playful banter without even realizing that she was using it. And that's what it yielded. Now she's locked in and loaded, and they made a decision that they're exclusively dating. They're doing the damn thing, as you heard them say. So I am super, super excited.
That's awesome, man.
I think the biggest thing I'm excited about was someone made a decision to show up for themselves and to take action, right? And actually utilize what they learned, and it yielded results. So that definitely is the key. So shout out to that. And then the next masterclass is coming up on May the 20th. And you could see the
is that okay?
link.
Is that okay to do that?
Okay.
Is that okay to do that?
It's not. You can see the link going across the screen.
That means
I wish we could.
excited.
This wasn't live, and we could edit that out. But
why would you want to edit that part out? I don't even understand. But congratulations to those two. That's fantastic. Love to see things like that. We're talking about something so impactful, something that's so serious to a lot of us, whether you're single or in a relationship. That's the topic of loneliness. And you can feel lonely in a relationship. Are we tripping? Can't you feel lonely even in a relationship?
Yeah, we saw that in the comments. Yes, you can.
You can. So especially for folks that are single, babe, we know it's a big deal. It's such a big deal. You were talking about earlier, it's a whole epidemic around loneliness, right?
Absolutely.
So what we want to do is, it's so serious. We want to show you all a clip I think that will really drive it home even better than we can. And then after the video, we're going to give you some tips that are going to change your life, no matter what your relationship status is, on how you can combat loneliness. You should go and invite a friend, bring a notebook. I'm going to tell you right now, when we drop these 3 tips, they're definitely going to help you out and serve you well. Let's watch the video first, though.
Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, says loneliness is an epidemic, the focus of an 80-page advisory he is releasing today.
We're used to thinking about smoking and obesity as clear public health concerns.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
Yeah, in terms of the risk that it poses for premature death, yes.
Half of U.S. adults experience measurable loneliness, and it's greater among young adults.
When you struggle with loneliness, when you're socially disconnected, it increases your risk of depression and anxiety and suicide, but it also increases your risk of physical illness as well.
Loneliness increases the risk for heart disease, stroke, and among older adults, dementia.
Wow. Babe, you were talking about this yesterday.
That
and
is wild.
I know when you saw it, and I know we've actually talked about this. If you've been watching us for a while, we've talked about this even before the video, and we saw the video online. But we've talked about the serious impacts of loneliness. And I see some people put in the chat, if loneliness and being alone are the same thing. And so around that topic, babe, around how serious this is, like what can we do about this? Like, how serious is this, especially for folks that are single out here in the streets and they want relationships?
So I'm going to tell you how real this is. So we were having dinner with a friend on the weekend, super successful professional. It's a gentleman, super successful professional, has it going on so many different levels. You would, look at this person and say, this person should not have not necessarily a problem, but why aren't you in a relationship, right? And the thing about it is we're talking about, his dating journey. And it was interesting because it's not like he has a issue going on dates or getting, being with somebody or whatever it is. It's when he thinks about the type of relationship that he wants to be in and the type of person that he wants to be with, those that have presented themselves are facing the same problem as well, right? Highly successful, super busy, highly achieved, goal-oriented, driven, all the things. And they're so driven and goal-oriented or success-oriented, they have a fear of if they were to pull back and focus on the relate or give any type of energy to the relationship side of things, they'll fall back. And one of the things that you absolutely cannot do is shake the need for relationship, right? So as much as you're out here and you're doing all the things and you're making all the money and you're being super successful, what happens is when you go home and you look around and you realize like, it's me in these four walls, or it's me in these 2 stories, or he even said I had to get a cat. I had to get, his exact words were, I had to get a cat because I was lonely at the house. So it's important for all the reasons that the doctor mentioned on the video that, we just watched. It's detrimental to your health. So it's so much more than I don't have time to date or I don't have time to be in relationship. You really have to think about, am I extending or cutting my lifespan short?
I love that point. When I was single, I know one thing, sometimes I would feel really lonely even when I had company around. And I think I really tried to fill up my phone with people who would just like spend time because I didn't want to be lonely. Anybody else relate to that? Like sometimes you just have people that are just, and no disrespect to anybody. If y'all watching this, like, Rio, and you send me a message and Mika got to cuss you.
Send me the message. I won't cuss anybody. I'll just have conversation.
What I'm saying is you're coming from a place of not understanding how to deal with being lonely. You choose all type of vices, right? For some people, it might be something that's not healthy. And for me, it wasn't healthy. And so what we want to talk about is 3 tips that are going to help us, that have helped me, that have helped Mika, that have helped other people. And they're not really well known. I don't think they're talked about all the time. I know people talk about self-care, which is super important. And then people have talked about some of the tips to combat loneliness. We want to share 3 with you that you may not have thought about before that'll really do you some good.
Or maybe you have thought about them and you just haven't done them.
Absolutely.
Before I share the tip, though, I am going to throw in a caveat, right? When it comes to you feeling lonely and being lonely, like you probably heard because you watched the video, but in case you missed it, one of the stats that stands out to me is the effects of loneliness. It could be as impactful on your life as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
That's the part. Absolutely.
Like, we knew this stat from before and it was hitting home, but I think now, because of this whole declaration, it's an epidemic, like all the things, it really is. It's putting it out there in the forefront. Like, could you imagine? I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke cigarettes, and I'm definitely not judging anybody who does. But for those of you who know the negative impacts of smoking, right? Think about it. If you ever looked at, I don't remember what I was looking at, and I saw a healthy lung, and it wasn't even like a smoker's lung. It was somebody who vaped. And I saw the difference in the two, and I was like, oh my God. It was literally like night and day. One was like gray, and one was like healthy looking. You could tell. So if you can imagine smoking 15 cigarettes a day and the impact that that has on one's body, on one's health, that is exactly what is happening to your body when you choose to say, I am giving up on love. You cannot avoid the feeling of loneliness if you are not fulfilling the need that you naturally have for relationships. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. Yes, that is a need. I'm not even going to go down that road. I was going to go down a hole, but I'm not going there.
Listen.
Just know that a part of our human design, the same way we have essential needs like food and water and shelter and all of those things, it has been proven that a part of our human design, there is a need for relationship and human connection.
Matter of fact, we're taking connections for granted. Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. I think we have taken connections for granted, and it's time for us to do something about it. And we really believe that we can do something about it. And you can do something about it today with these 3 tips we're going to share with you, because it is that serious. Like, we're talking about the health implications. I'm country, don't worry about it. But we're talking about what it can do to the body, to the health, to your mental condition. But what does it do to the people around you when you suffer with loneliness? Like, I know when I was lonely, I slipped into a place of depression, and it was bad. And for me, we've even wrote about it. I've talked about it and shared my story. But for me, like, doing things like meditation really helped me out. Doing things to really explore who I was and do self-discovery helped me out. But I can't deny it was dark. So these 3 tips, get your notebook ready. We're going to share these with you because I see inside of the comments, people said we can relate, and I understand what it feels like. So today we're going to do something about it. So babe, here's tip number 1 we want to share. Make time for meaningful connections.
And this is where I'm saying you probably thought about it, but you're already thinking, I'm already so busy anyway. Like, how am I going to make that time, right? It's just something else on the list of things that I have to do. And you might be one of those people that are like, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. I am you. If you want me to do something, put it on my calendar. If you want me to show up somewhere, put it on my calendar. Send me an invite, like all the things. Just because in this day and age, it's how I'm wired, right? If you've ever tried to have a meeting with me, I'm gonna ask you for your email if I don't already have it, so I can schedule that meeting invite on my calendar. Why is that? Because as busy professionals, it's almost like we've trained ourselves to live not just by schedules, but to have it all laid out for us. Why? Because it feels easier. So why not schedule in that personal time for you and your partner, for you and your family? Ask, do you block time off? Because sometimes that feeling of loneliness, it spans from depression, like what Rio says, but it could be another root cause that's leading to that depression.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So do we need to address the loneliness that we're feeling? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes, too, we're afraid to slow down because we don't want to have that time to ourselves, because that time to ourselves will force us to come to the realization of how lonely we feel.
So we get.
So we're trying to avoid it.
We're trying to be booked and busy to avoid loneliness. So I'm doing a lot of things, maybe not even anything productive, but I'm doing a lot of stuff so I don't feel lonely and have to be by myself.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be productive, don't get me wrong, but what all that leads to, it's not sustainable, right? Because when it's extended over a certain amount of time without having that time for yourself or for that self-care to regress and to really sit back and to really like allow your mind to get clear, it causes a whole nother ball of problems. And that's why you heard on the video, it could lead to depression. It could lead to anxiety. It could lead to alcoholism and substance abuse and all different things and different problems within our bodies that it's not visible to the naked eye. And some of it could even be visible. It could affect the way you ate. It could affect your skin, your hair. Y'all, put the same way you live by your calendar. I need you to schedule time in for self first, if you're single, because that's where it starts, but it needs to be personal time. And in that personal time, if you do not have somebody in your life and you're in your single phase, that time is your time. That time is self-care time. That time is not focusing on any other work time. When you do meet somebody or you are dating, that time is date time. Or some of that time. And then you'll find that it'll be easier for you to be able to bring somebody into your life and in your space because you already have time allotted for that type of activity.
Listen, I see some people putting it in the chat right now. I love it. We have a question that's going across our live screen, and it says, what has prevented you from making time for meaningful connection in the past? And it could be all types of stuff, but that's the question we're asking you right now. What stopped you from making meaningful connections? So I see some people might put work, some people might put kids. Like Micca said, my schedule's so busy. But what has prevented you? And then we have to decide, am I making an excuse? And is this excuse preventing me or keeping me lonely, right? We need to make meaningful connections, not just connections, but meaningful connections. I think is so important.
Those have always been mine in the past.
Absolutely. I think that's a big one. So that's tip number one, make meaningful connections. I see some people really love this tip. Let's go to tip number 2 though, babe. Tip number 2 is build a support system. And I think this one is probably the one that saved me more than anything, is building a strong support system. And the people around me were so loving and caring. And more important than anything else, they listen. So, and then being around like-minded people changed everything for me, because I think when I was lonely, I surrounded myself with things I would hear, see. I wasn't protecting my ear gates, my eye gates, so to speak. So I was taking in a bunch of energy that would make me feel more lonely. I would be looking at relationships and be like, well, why come I don't have a relationship? Or I would look at somebody doing something with their family. Well, I'm not with my family. So I would take on that energy. And then when I did, I think that it made me more lonely because I wasn't surrounding myself with the right support system at the time.
This one is big, guys. You ever heard that saying, it takes a village it takes a village to raise a child? Well, I always like to say it takes a village to have a healthy relationship. And that spans into the relationship with yourself. It spans into relationship with family, and it spans into relationship with others. Because I'm going to tell you right now, my support system, and it doesn't have to be a large group of people. I have a very, very tight circle. And these are people that I've known for a very, very, very long. I think my longest friendship spanned to about 30 years or almost 30 years now, right? So I have a very small knit, but every time I've ever been in a situation, I was diagnosed with severe depression when I was 7 months pregnant with my last son. It was my support system that got me through that. When I experienced my miscarriage, it was my support system that got me through that. When I was going through my divorce, it was my support system that got me through that. When I was depressed in my singleness and hurting, it was my support system. When my husband was sick, you guys have heard his story about almost dying 3 times in a year. It was my support system that got me through that, because I started dealing with the effects of his sickness, right, on another level. Yeah. So it is very, very important to not just being focused on having somebody in your life when you say you desire a relationship, or when you want to combat that feeling of loneliness. But that support system, they're the ones that are going to help you with your decision making, even when you're transitioning out of one area of your life and into a new. They're pivotal. And even if it's just for you to bounce ideas off of.
I wouldn't have made it through the time I went through. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, I needed my support system more than ever during that year of near-death experiences 3 times in 1 year. In the hospital that I was in, when I was alone in that room, like, I was okay with feeling like being alone, but I really felt a sense of loneliness when the lights went off and nobody else was there, and it was during the pandemic and nobody was coming in and out but a nurse or a doctor. Like, that was really the pit of loneliness that I can remember recently. But what got me through is having you, having friends, having family, having people that were praying for me, people who would want to listen and check up on me. Those things helped a lot. Do you have that kind of support system? And you see the question that's going across the screen right now. What qualities do you look for in a supportive friend or partner? Sometimes we don't even think about that. I think sometimes when we think about this stuff, we think about, I want a man, I want this. We think about the romanticizing stuff and about relationships. But what does the support look like? Like, and do you have that right now? So put that inside of the chat. What qualities do you look for in a supportive friend or partner? That's a big one, babe. I love that tip number 2, and I love the gems you drop. So put that inside of the chat. We want to go straight to tip number 3. Remember, if you guys are loving these tips, make sure you share this video. Make sure you put it inside of the chat. Make sure you let somebody know that there is help. There is hope. And this is our couple tips that we can contribute for you to help out with doing this. So here is the next one we have for you. Try something new. Dang, this is a big one, babe. Try something new is a big one. What did you try that was new to help get you through, like, that period of maybe loneliness?
As it relates to
that we can play on TV.
As it relates to dating, online dating. I was 32 years old. I was a single mother. Well, found myself being a single mom now post-divorce, and I didn't know what to do with myself because I've never, since I started being in relationships, I feel like I had my first broken heart. I was probably like 19 or something like that. And then I took like an 8-month break from like being in relationship. But every time outside of that, I was always in relationships. I was always dating someone. And they generally tend to be like serious relationships. So I've never really had an opportunity to, like date multiple people, like all these things that, people go through, teenagers, whatever it is, when they're entering in their dating phase or discovery phases or whatever. So at 32 years old, I found myself single, divorced, not really facing what just happened in my life, still being a single mom, still being an entrepreneur, still having a team that I was overseeing and all the things. And a girlfriend was like, you need to try online dating. So
that's what that book's over there about.
So I was like, yes, I'm going to try online dating. And then fast forward, I believe like maybe 2 years later, I wrote my first book about the powerful lessons I've learned through online dating after divorce. Because I had some experiences. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know how to maneuver the landscape. I didn't know what to say, what not to say. I had a horrible bio that was attracting horrible matches. Like it was horrible. I had no idea what I was doing. I wish I had PowerMate back in the day to help me maneuver my online dating journey, because it was beyond struggling. It was turmoil. To the point where it led to a whole best-selling book with some of the stories. Not all of them made it into the book because it was just ridiculous. Anywho, but either. So that is what I did for my try something different. What did you do to try something?
Listen, I'm just listening because you had me think about that profile that you had in all caps.
Don't make fun of my profile, Rio.
What I ain't gonna deal with. Don't even waste my time. Don't even play with me. No, I mean, for me, we talked about meditation before. I had meditated before when I was younger, and I really can't get past that. Meditation was a big part of my life, and I know you're like, oh man, that's boring. But no, it wasn't. It was actually very exciting on top of other things that I did that were new. But like really spending time to like visualize myself with somebody really played a big part of helping me through that time where I felt like I was going to be single for the rest of my life. Like I really felt like after this tough divorce and failed relationships and all the things. And now I'm seeing everybody else kind of seem like they're doing what they're doing, and I'm not doing what I'm doing. I'm feeling like I'm falling behind. You know, I'm working hard. I'm seeing production there, but in my love life, I'm definitely not seeing any production. So I know what it felt like, and I knew what it felt like to go home and be super lonely and like have nobody to call on the holidays. So most days I was cool because I'd go out with friends. I was kicking it. I was doing my thing. I was fine. But it, like during the holiday time was tough. Like sometime on those nights it was tough. Some of these folks be calling over little things, and the little thing ain't answering the phone. You know what I mean? Like it was tough.
What's a thing?
A little thing, a little side piece. Little side piece. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Are we getting too grown tonight? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting too grown. But like when all those people aren't there, you start feeling lonely. And so we can talk all this blah, blah, blah we want to, but we all feel it, and we have to have healthy ways to get through it. But I say that was a big deal for me. Learn how to meditate and becoming a meditation practitioner helped me out big time around that time. But here's a question we got for the people out there, right? So like, what has held you back from trying something new in the past? Like, what has held you back from trying something new in the past? You heard what we did. Like, and that's just one of the stories. We have a lot of stuff we did.
What is holding you back? Maybe that is current. What is
absolutely
in the past or currently? What is holding you back from trying something new?
Micca, we're constantly trying something new. And I think that's really what is helping to hold our relationship together, because we're always doing something new together. And that really helps us like keep things exciting. And a lot of times when you're lonely, maybe you're not doing things with meaningful connections. You're not doing anything new. Life is starting to feel like blah, like trying something new, and preferably something healthy new is the way to go. So
absolutely.
I see people loving these tips. These are 3 big tips because we care a lot about like this topic, because we understand just how big it is big, right? So listen, we want to tell y'all one more time about like how to combat loneliness. There's definitely a way to combat loneliness. And if you're out here single in these streets and you're tired of being single and you actually want to meet somebody and you want, because you know, right, that you are a husband or a wife, you know that. Like you might have something that on this list that is holding you back, or something maybe you haven't identified. Maybe it is the flirting and the body language, which happens for a lot of the people. And you know, as a residual effect of that flirting and body language, confidence goes up, belief goes up, the feeling of loneliness starts to drop, anxiety starts to fade away. Like it's bigger than just like having game. It does a lot for the inner being, right? So we are inviting you guys out to the flirting and body language masterclass, babe.
100%. Y'all, you need to be in this class for all the reasons that Rio just said, especially if you're like, man, I want to get back out here in these dating streets. I don't want to feel lonely anymore. I want to be laying to a warm body. I don't want to go through, even if you're like, I know what I want, I'm intentional, I don't want to go through all the things of trying to find them in the online dating and the this and the blah and the frustration. I don't want to go through all of that. There are not tricks, but there are tips that you could learn that will help you in your journey, and you get to practice them and put them into play in the actual class. Like how much better does it get? Like I don't teach me something that I can implement right now. And not only can I implement it right now and get direct feedback from professionals and from people in the class right now, but I can leave the class and go use these things like immediately. You guys saw the video. Can we play that video?
You want to play it one time?
Yes.
All right. Let's sit with the video one time. All right, let's sit with the video, because I love.
This is what can happen to y'all. Okay.
I actually love this video. Let's do it.
It has been great. I like spaces where you have the opportunity to become vulnerable without any real strings attached. It allows you to really, take a humble approach, making sure that you're not locked in to all of the things you've learned in your previous communications. And then it gives you an opportunity to just grow.
Hello everyone, my name is Latasha Matthews and this is
Michael.
And we are here to thank Micca and Rio for helping us connect. I attended a masterclass with them that really taught me some techniques that I'll share in this video, but we really just wanted to thank them. So I took a master class that really taught you how to use your body language, do some flirting, and use all these techniques that I didn't know I really needed until I took the class. Playful banter is what I used. So Michael, I met on Facebook dating app. Tell them about your experience on Facebook dating.
So I think by the time that I met Latasha, I was like kind of fed up with Facebook dating app. I only had been on there three days, and then you have so many profiles to look through, and you don't know what people are angling for, what they're looking at. And at the time that she came across my profile, I was like in the shutdown mode. I was about to shut it down. So very truthful. When I'm out there on these dating sites, I was just letting everyone know, hey, I have had a couple of good conversations with people. I'm going to probably go and hang out with a few people, and then I'm shutting it down. And then she came in like the last hour, and I mean last hour, like I was probably getting ready to shut it down. Then I saw her message, and her message was like, oh, I guess I missed my opportunity. So that kind of like started the conversation, and then here we are today.
Yeah. So the playful banter was one of the techniques I learned in Micca and Rio's masterclass, and really it was just an opportunity to lighten up the conversation. I realized that I had been a little rigid in previous situations, so that allowed the door to open for Michael to say, hey Leah, let's connect, and the rest is history. So we really just want to thank you two for what you do in bringing couples together and really just teaching some of those techniques that we didn't know. And now we're locked and loaded, and we about to do this thing.
Oh yeah, we're about to make it happen.
Yeah, so thank you all.
Thank you all.
Join their masterclass. They're amazing. If you want to find love, you want to find out how to communicate, they're the people to talk to.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Listen, my brother was just laying back in the cut, you know what I mean? Like I was gonna get off the dating app, you know what I mean? Like I had
But
some
she
connections.
came in and she used the flirting
and she used the
banter.
playful banter. Like y'all out here still saying, "What's up, big head?" Y'all still in the early 2000s.
Or I saw something else
Hey,
on
big head.
Facebook
Good morning,
today.
queen.
The minute a woman, like men are out here stalking these women's profiles, and the minute she puts up a picture showing some kind of skin, like they immediately drop in her inbox. Like, don't do that. Just do not. That is not.
That
game.
ain't fly.
That is not game. Don't do that.
And empowerment land, going back to this whole flirting masterclass, going back to what we talked about loneliness, let me tell you the good news. Just because you're single don't mean you have to be lonely. Can we get to the real talk? These are our final thoughts for the night, right? Listen, just because you're single doesn't mean you have to be lonely. And guess what? You don't have to have another body next to you not to feel lonely. As a matter of fact, feeling lonely is an inside job. Did you know that? It's an inside job. That's why people in relationships still feel lonely. You know why? Because they get super clingy. Their attachment style is out of control. They're super jealous. Am I preaching to anybody? These things happen when we don't understand how to deal with loneliness properly. So listen, the whole point of this is you don't have to deal with it.
Let me add to that. They go into these relationships with the expectation that the other person is going to curb their loneliness. That ain't cool. It is not the other person's responsibility. It is your responsibility to feel so secure in yourself that you desire the companionship of the other person while still feeling fulfilled within yourself.
But hold on, babe. This is what people say all the time. They say, I'm looking for my other half, for my better half, for somebody to complete me. And then that is, to me, that is a sign. And we say stuff without thinking about it. But guess what? When I came in this relationship, I was determined to be complete. Have I evolved? Have I grown? Have I expanded? Have all the things happened? Absolutely. But I was complete when we met. So guess what? That's the thing you have to do. So if you're out here dating with anxiety, if you're out here dating with loneliness, if you're out here dating thinking you're the only person that's lonely in the world, Mika gave a stat earlier that was crazy. And she was talking about all the people who signed up for a dating show we were watching. A dating show where they get married quickly. I'm not sure if I can say the name of the show, but they get married very quickly. Right? It's off the chain. And thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people like apply for this special love moment and experience. So guess what? Like There's people out there who actually want love. There's people out here that
They
want to
want a
experience a thing. And so, no, you do not have to be out here with the loneliness. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, listen, babe, what's your final thought on this topic you want to leave them with?
If you are in that space, that demo that I mentioned earlier, right? You are single, you are a busy professional, you're a busy entrepreneur, you know that you've been killing it, you've been crushing it in your professional life, in your business, and you're at that point where you're like, man, I've really been sacrificing the same success in my personal life. Like I know I have all these accomplishments, these accolades, these awards, all the things, but when I go home, it is me in the four walls. Or if you're like our friend that we sat with on the weekend, like he went out and got a cat just so to try to curb that feeling of loneliness, right? Just because the individuals he's interested in or who he would like to date or court, they're still going through that hamster wheel of chasing success and fearing that if they regress from being high achieving or being success driven, that they're going to fall back and the success isn't going to be there anymore. So if you are that person, my ask to you, my invite to you would, number one, be use the tips and the strategies that we shared earlier in this video, right? Make sure you are if you are so busy and everything, you're like me and everything's got to be on your calendar before it gets done, make sure you are putting in this space of your life that you were single, time to release, time to unwind, time for self, and also include a focus on relationships. And if you don't have the time to do it on your own, like I told y'all earlier, our mission or mandate is that we bring people just like you together in community and give them tools, strategies, and support so that they can have that fulfilling, healthy relationship that they desire. Some of y'all, we even help y'all to get matched.
Absolutely.
So that's even an option there for you as well.
Absolutely.
But you got to make sure that you're setting time, you're putting time in place for you, and you're not pushing the relationship part aside, because that need, it is psychologically proven that it is one of the essential needs as humans that we have. Get yourself some type of support, get in a community, get a professional, whatever it is, to help you fill that gap. And then also be open yourself up, open your mind up, open your desire up to do something and try something new, because everything that you have been doing up until this point has led you to where you are. So if you're still at that point where you're feeling the effects of loneliness, go back and watch that video that we showed you earlier from the Surgeon General, how he stated the effects of loneliness, and it's now declared an epidemic. You do not have to go down that road. We do not want you to go down that road, because we have tools in place to help you. And come to the masterclass. Just come to masterclass.
And I want to throw this out here at you real quick. And thank you, babe. I love that. And we also, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been commenting. Thank y'all so much. We've been trying to keep up with the comments.
In, guys.
Love y'all. This is so good. Thank you so much, sis. We appreciate that. Check this out though. Like the flirting masterclass, I believe, babe, that like people should come to it if you're in like a relationship. I believe you should come to it if you're single. I believe you should come to it because even now, me and Micca still flirt. And I get on Micca sometimes about getting better at flirting. Everybody knows that. If y'all know us, if y'all know Rio and Micca, I get on Micca about flirting
business in
all
the
the
streets,
time. Now listen,
Rio.
she got a lip. She got game. I'm not talking about she got game.
It's
she
because
flirts,
of how I flirt while you're
and
even here.
You flirt in a super cute way, and I like it. I can't wait to get into this on this masterclass.
It's because of how I flirt while we're even here right now, and I got receipts.
You and your
I have all the receipts.
Listen, you and your man, you and your lady, y'all come out and come enjoy the masterclass as well. Maybe you guys can partner up together or gain some tips from what we're talking about in the class. You guys should show up. single people show up. It's going to be fantastic. You're invited, so come on and join us.
And that link, if you're listening to this or watching on the replay, is masterclass.powermates.io.
We're going to make you do a flirty touch.
It's also in the
I've
done a
Look at that flirty touch.
I've done the flirty touch in the class.
If y'all know,
stop.
y'all know us.
Stop.
You know what time
Just
it is.
leave me alone.
I love it.
Just leave me alone. Rio is picking on me, and that is not what this live is about. So he's about to stop this right now. This has been great, guys.
Absolutely.
I hope you guys got some nuggets from these tips. Share them with somebody who you think needs this, who you think would find value in this information. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, whatever platform you are watching this on, or send us a DM. We love answering your questions. Oh, I forgot to mention, you never know, when you send us a DM, with your permission, depending on the question, it might even make it into our brand new newsletter that's coming out for our community.
Go.
So yes, super excited
That'll be
about that. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. It has been great. We will see you all on same Powermate time, same Powermate channel.
No doubt. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out, guys.